You think the market has changed. Screens instead of ticker tapes, algorithms instead of brokers, digital coins instead of stocks printed on paper. But let me tell you something, my friend. Nothing has changed. Only the costumes. The emotions that drive men to ruin or to fortune are still the same. And the market, still knows exactly how to expose them. I've seen every kind of trader. The young man trembling with greed, thinking his first profit makes him a genius. The veteran, desperate to win back what the market took from him. The dreamers, the gamblers, the hopefuls, they all meet the same fate if they don't learn the one truth that kept me alive longer than most. It wasn't my predictions that saved me, it was my position sizing. I didn't call it that back then. I called it testing the market. A small probe, a feeler, a first bullet in a long campaign. Because trading to me was war. An endless war with myself, my emotions, and the tape. When I began as a boy, I would watch the tape in the bucket shops, eyes fixed, heart pounding, waiting for the next move. I'd bet small, just a few dollars. But soon, greed would whisper, "You were right, Jesse. Bet big. Take it all." And that whisper, that voice, cost me more money than any market ever did. Years later, I learned to silence it. I learned that the secret to survival is not how much you make when you're right. It's how little you lose when you're wrong. I learned to divide my capital into units. Each unit represented a chance, not a guarantee, to prove the market agreed with me. When I entered a trade, I never bet big at first. Never. I bought a small amount. If the market moved my way, that was my confirmation, not my hope, not my prediction, the tape confirming my judgment. Then I added, carefully, each addition smaller than the one before. I built my positions the way an architect builds a tower, only when the foundation was firm. But if the market turned against me, I didn't pray. I didn't average down. I got out, completely. Because when the market says you're wrong, you don't argue, you listen. That was my formula, simple to understand, impossible for most to follow, because it demands you kill the two things traders love most, hope and ego. Hope tells you to add to a losing position because it'll come back. Ego tells you the market is wrong, not you, but the market doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't know your name. It doesn't even know you exist. You think crypto, Forex, AI signals, these things have changed the game? They haven't. They've only given your emotions faster weapons. Leverage, instant execution, 24-hour trading, they don't make you disciplined, they amplify your weakness. I traded with chalk and paper, yet men went broke the same way you do now, by betting too big, too soon, on something they barely understood. I remember the first time I made a fortune. It was 1907. Panic spread through Wall Street like wildfire. While others prayed, I shorted the market. And when the dust cleared, I was rich beyond measure. They called me the boy plunger. The papers said I could see the future. But the truth? I didn't predict anything. I reacted. My positions were small at first, then larger only when the tape said, "You're right." That's all my formula ever was. Start small, add only on confirmation, never average down, and never risk everything on one belief. I lived by those words, and yet I broke them. In 1929, I followed my own rules again, shorting the euphoria, watching as prices collapsed, and once more I stood at the top of the world. $100 million. In today's world, that's billions. But let me tell you the truth behind that number. When the market gave me that fortune, it also took something from me, peace. Because after you win that big, you think you're invincible. You forget the formula that made you rich. You stop respecting your own rules. You start believing you can bend the market to your will. And that belief destroys more traders than losses ever will. I lost it all, more than once. Each time, not because the market beat me, but because I sized wrong. Too large, too confident, too proud. The market rewards humility. It destroys arrogance. And sizing, that cold, unemotional calculation, is the purest act of humility a trader can practice. You see, position sizing is not math, it's psychology written in numbers. When you risk 2% of your capital, you're not following a rule. You're telling your ego, you don't control me. When you start small, you're reminding yourself that the market owes you nothing. And when you only add after confirmation, you're proving you have patience. the rarest virtue on the street. I used to walk into my office every morning and ask myself, is the market confirming my position, or am I trying to confirm it? That one question saved me more money than any analysis ever could. You can have the best chart pattern, the strongest conviction, but if your position size is wrong, you're finished before the first tick. Think of it this way. The market is like the ocean. You can't control the waves, but you can control how deep you go. Go too deep and one storm wipes you out. Stay shallow and you can ride through 1,000 storms. That's what my formula was built on. Survival first, profit second. Because you can't win tomorrow if you're wiped out today. Now let me tell you how it worked, step by step. When I identified a trade, let's say I wanted to buy, my first position would be a fraction. 1/5 of what I intended to hold, maybe less. If the stock moved in my favor, I'd wait for it to break through a key point, resistance, momentum, whatever word you modern traders use. Only then would I add another fraction. If it continued, I'd add again. But each time the addition would be smaller. Never larger, because I never wanted my last buy to be my largest one. That's how men lose fortunes, piling on at the top. If the market turned back, I'd liquidate the whole position. No hesitation. I didn't care about being right. I cared about being solvent. That's the formula in its purest form. Small initial risk. Add only when proven right. Never average a loser. Never double down on hope. Protect your capital above all. But there was another rule, one most traders overlook. When I pyramided into a winning position, I never moved my stops backward. My stops always moved forward, locking in progress, never emotion. Each addition had its own risk point. Each layer defended itself. That was how I built empires without collapsing under their own weight. Modern traders call it risk per trade. I called it common sense. The irony is that men love complexity. They search for indicators, secret algorithms, back-tested formulas. But the truth that makes fortunes is painfully simple. Trade small, add slow, cut fast. Discipline is the only edge that never expires. Let me tell you something else the papers never printed. My formula wasn't just about numbers. It was about rhythm, about feeling the market's pulse. When a stock acted right, I pressed. When it hesitated, I stopped. My position size expanded and contracted with that rhythm. It was like breathing. Inhale when the market breathes with you. Exhale when it turns against you. That rhythm is what most traders today never learn. They stare at screens, overloaded with data, forgetting that trading is not prediction, it's reaction. The market moves, you follow, and your size tells the story of your conviction. A large size too early screams arrogance. A steady, growing size whispers confidence. Every fortune I made started with a whisper, never a shout. You see, traders today chase excitement. They mistake volatility for opportunity, noise for signal. They trade not because the market calls them, but because boredom does. And boredom has destroyed more accounts than crashes ever have. When you size correctly, you remove excitement from the equation. Trading becomes quiet, deliberate, almost dull. But dull is where wealth hides. Excitement lives where ruin begins. I learned that after my greatest win. When I made those millions in 1929, I thought the silence after the chaos meant peace. But it didn't. It meant temptation. Temptation to do more, to prove I was still the master of the game. And that temptation made me forget the very principle that built my fortune. You are never bigger than the market. That lesson took everything from me, and yet it was the greatest gift the market ever gave. So when you hear stories about my wealth, my trades, my fame, don't envy them. Envy my rules, because those rules, not my brilliance, were what made me survive long enough to learn. Today, the markets move faster, but your downfall will still come from the same place, inside your own head. You'll still feel the same pulse of greed, the same panic when price moves against you, the same euphoria when you're right. And if you let those feelings dictate your size, you'll meet the same fate as countless traders before you. Control the size and you control the damage. Control the damage and you stay alive long enough to win. The truth is, my formula isn't a secret at all. It's discipline disguised as arithmetic. It's the art of self-control translated into percentages. That's why I'm telling you this now, because somewhere out there, another trader is about to make the same mistake I did. He'll win big once. He'll think he's found the key. And then he'll double down, overconfident, too large for his own good. And the market will humble him, as it humbled me. Don't let that be you. When the screen glows green, don't celebrate. Measure. When it glows red, don't panic. Calculate. Your size must always serve your plan, not your pride. And when you feel like the market is against you, remember this. It isn't. It's just revealing who you really are. So learn from me. I was Jesse Livermore. I mastered the market and then watched it master me, all because I forgot the one truth that never changes. The market rewards discipline, not desire. It pays the patient, not the impulsive. And it destroys those who bet their future on a single trade, a single belief, a single moment of ego. If you want to last in this game, size small. Wait for proof. Add only when right. Never defend a loser. And when you find yourself wanting to go all in, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I acting from logic or from ego? That pause could save your life, because it saved mine many times. I'm not telling you this to sound wise. I'm telling you because I paid for every word with real money, real losses, and real blood. You don't need to repeat my mistakes. You only need to listen. I was Jesse Livermore. And my secret position sizing formula wasn't just a strategy. It was my survival. Let it be yours.